2000, you received over $52 million. In 2001, that increased to $98 million. And then in 2005, you took home $89 million. In 2006, you made a huge stock sale, and you received over $100 million in that year alone. That's almost $500 million. And that's difficult to comprehend for a lot of people. Your company is now bankrupt. Our economy is in a state of crisis. But you get to keep $480 million. I have a very basic question for you. Is this fair?
I would say to you the 500 number is not accurate. I would say to you that although it's still a large number, I think for the years that you're talking about here, I believe my cash compensation was close to $60 million, which you have indicated here. And I believe the amount that I took out of the company over and above that was, I believe, a little bit less than $250 million.
The Savage Nation. Today was one of the most astonishing days in my radio career. I sat glued to the television watching on C-SPAN the hearings, the grilling of former Lehman Brothers CEO, who earned, according to a chart brought out by Congress, as much as $480 million between the years 2000 and 2007, while the company went bankrupt. I opened the show by playing music from the Titanic as the ship was going down. For comic effect, it's not so funny when you realize that we're living in an age that makes the age of the robber baron look as though they were social workers. Now, I grew up reading about the robber barons of a certain time in American history, and I knew their names. I was steeped in their behavior. But by what I see going on today with the crooks in the government and the crooks on Wall Street, the robber barons of yesteryear or the equivalent of social workers today. What I wanted to see today, and my headline on michaelsavage.com is Lehman CEO made almost $500 million before bankruptcy. Here's what I wanted to see today. I wanted to see one honest congressman who was not bought and sold like a cheap prostitute, not pretend to be filled with outrage, not to pretend to be filled with righteous indignation, but to actually say, I am demanding here and now that you take $500 million of your own assets and return them to the little old ladies in Peoria who lost their life savings. You are saying, Mr. Fold, that you don't sleep at night? Did anyone hear that soundbite? Play that soundbite right now of the crocodile tears being shed by Richard Fold, former CEO of Lehman Brothers. Listen to the audacity of this man, clip one.
And again, not that anybody on this committee cares about this, but I wake up every single night thinking, what could I have done differently? And it's been going on. What could I have done differently? In certain conversations, what could I have said? What should I have done? And I have searched myself every single night. And I come back to, at the time, and that's why I said this in the beginning, the time I made those decisions, I made those decisions with the information that I had. Having said all that, I can look right at you and say, this is a pain that will stay with me for the rest of my life.
In other words, he's the victim. He's the victim. He made $480 million, according to the government, $484.8 million in the years leading up to the collapse of Lehman Brothers. But he said this is a pain that he will feel for the rest of his life. Now, if I were a congressman, which I have no desire to be, I would have stopped him right there and I would have said quite sarcastically, you know, Mr. Fold, I feel your pain and I have a way for you to lessen that burden. I'm going to ask you here and now if you'll say to the American people that in an attempt to set things straight, in an attempt to make the little old ladies who don't sleep ever, they never get a good night's sleep. It's not just a pain for them, it's a heart attack that you've given them because they lost their life savings in the Lehman Brothers stock. Would you return the $480 million that you made to the stockholders of your company, which fundamentally you busted out like a sporting goods store in The Sopranos? Now, that's what I would have said if I were a congressman, but the reason that you didn't hear that today is that although there was a lot of sound and fury, and I thought that Representative Henry Waxman, who I normally detest, did a fabulous job. He didn't go far enough. Dennis Kucinich, who I normally ridicule and detest, did a fairly good job but did nothing. And that is because if you study the money that was spread around by these Wall Street types, you will find out that Lehman Brothers spread some of that money around to the very people who were questioning him today. Never before, ladies and gentlemen, in American history has so much been stolen by so few, and has there been no consequences. On Friday, if you remember, there was $1 trillion bailout forced down our throats. Dianne Feinstein had the audacity to say that 85,000 emails opposed it out of 91,000 she received, but she said we are too stupid to understand what the bailout is. Wasn't too stupid. I wasn't too stupid. I knew it wasn't my bailout. I knew it wouldn't bail you out. I knew it was to bail out Dianne Feinstein's friends on Wall Street. I knew it was to bail out Henry Waxman's friends on Wall Street. I knew it was to bail out every crook in Congress. I knew it wouldn't bail us out. I knew it was too little too late. We were told that the bailout would save us. They told us that without it, there'd be a financial meltdown. Now it's Monday. Stock market down over 350 points. It had been down as high as 800 points. The bailout has done nothing. The American people are on the hook for $1 trillion, and nobody has gone to jail for it. $1 trillion. Do you understand what this means? Do you have any idea what this means, what the bailout is?